Hello people, in this video let us look at this forensic topic which is tests for blood. So basically these are microchemical tests for blood. They are also called as confirmatory tests for blood and they are also called as crystal tests. Okay. So basically there are two tests here, Hemin crystal test and hemochromogen crystal test. How many tests are there? Hemin crystal test and hemochromogen crystal test. Two tests are there that you should know. This Hemin crystal test is also called as Teichmann's test. And hemochromogen crystal test is also called as Takayama test. Okay, Takayama test. This one is Teichmann's test. If you can remember, God, so many terms here. Basically, look at the principle here. Okay, so basically the principle here is you're trying to detect porphyrins. What are porphyrins? So let us say this is hemoglobin, right? In hemoglobin, you have proteins, and here you have the heme. That is the non-protein part. You have the heme here. So this heme will have iron in the center and it will have porphyrin rings around it. So these porphyrin rings are what we are trying to find out. Porphyrin at least. Okay. So you have understood this. So you have understood the principle, right? So basically hemoglobin, porphyrin, blood, you are trying to detect whether it is blood, it is confirmatory test. So it's also called crystal test. The tests are Hemin crystal test and hemochromogen crystal test. So this reminds me of a very specific part in Sherlock Holmes when Dr. Watson comes to meet Sherlock Holmes, and Sherlock Holmes is very happy and he says, I found it, I know whether I can detect blood. So he's like, why is this important? Then why is it important that you want to detect blood? Then he understands that Sherlock Holmes is trying to solve murder mysteries or mysteries and he is able to detect blood. He's not confused whether it's ketchup or stain or paint or something. So this is what it reminds me of. And now let us get to the details. Okay, so we are done with all the stories. Now let us go to the exact thing what we have to write for the exam. So basically you have two tests here. You have the Hemin crystal test and the hemochromogen crystal test. Hemin crystal test, hemochromogen crystal test. Okay. Now let us look at Hemin crystal test. So Hemin crystal test, basically you take the blood, okay, and then you add sodium chloride crystals. You take how much? A small amount of suspected blood sample on a glass slide. You take the blood sample on a glass slide, add few crystals of sodium chloride, that is, you're adding salt right here, and glacial acetic acid from the side of the cover slip you will add, okay. Then you will heat it and observe under the microscope. You will see something like this. The microscopic appearance of brownish black rhombic crystals of Hemin or hemetin chloride arranged singly or in clusters confirms presence of blood. So they are saying here that this will be a little brown, right? Brownish black rhombic crystals of Hemin or hemetin chloride. So you should remember this. Hemin or hemetin crystals. Hemetin chloride crystals are formed. What crystals are formed? Hemin or hemetin chloride crystals are formed, which are rhombic crystals, brownish black rhombic crystals. Okay, they are arranged singly or in clusters and it confirms the presence of blood. So they are arranged singly or in clusters and they confirm the presence of blood. So brown rhombic crystals, remember to draw something like this, and in pairs and like that, like this. Okay. So this is called also as Teichmann's Hemin crystal test. Okay. What is it called as? This one. Teichmann's test. Teichmann's Hemin crystal test. Now what is the medico-legal importance of this? Reaction is negative, stain is old. So if it's an old stain, it will not be positive. If it has been washed or treated with chemicals, again it will not work. If too much salt is added, it will not work. If there is moisture in acid or overheating, then it will not work. Okay. Fallacies they are calling it as by overheating something. Okay. Shall we move on to the next one? Hemochromogen crystal test. Let's move on to this one now. Hemochromogen crystal test or Takayama test. So you take the blood, add Takayama reagent, as simple as that. What will be there in Takayama reagent? You should know, like pyridine, sodium hydroxide, glucose, distilled water. If you want, you can remember this. Then you just saturate the sample and heat it and observe under microscope. Okay. Heat and observe under microscope. So what will you see in this one? Microscopic appearance of pink feathery crystals. Do they look pink? Yeah, okay, pink. Pink feathery crystals. Do they look feathery? Yeah, kind of, yeah. Feathery crystals, pink feathery crystals. Look here, pink feathery crystals of hemochromogen. What is formed here? Hemochromogen. Microscopic appearance of pink feathery crystals of hemochromogen or reduced alkaline hematin arranged in clusters, sheaves, etc. 1 to 6 minutes confirms the presence of blood. Just in 1 to 6 minutes you can know whether there is blood. Feathery pink crystals of hemochromogen or reduced alkaline hematin. They are arranged in clusters, sheaves, etc. A lot of patterns here. In 1 to 6 minutes you can confirm the presence of blood. So let us look at the medico-legal importance of this test. So medico-legal importance of this test is that hemochromogen crystal test. So here pink color, remember. This is highly specific test. It requires very little of blood. Just 0.001 ml of blood is required here. Just 0.001 ml of blood. Let's make it pink. This one should be brown, right? Brown. Okay, this one is brown. This one should become pink. Give us a nice pink. A dark pink, please. Okay. And here you can use just 0.001 ml of blood. Within 1 to 6 minutes it will give you the result. It is more reliable. It's good result even with old stains. Good result even with old stains. Okay. So that was about hemochromogen crystal test. Now will you be able to say these without looking? Try. So basically what are we looking at? Two tests here. So one test is the Hemin crystal test, or it is also called as Takman's test. Then you have the hemochromogen crystal test or Takayama's test. Takayama you have to remember because using Takayama's reagent. Okay. Here it will be brown. Here it will be pink. Here it will be feathery. This is very good. Even old stains you can check, and only 0.001 ml of blood is required. Okay, so that is what we have learned in this microchemical test for blood, confirmatory test for blood, crystal test. Okay, we are done with this topic. We will meet you in the next video. Bye bye.